John, we're gonna start back recording right at 5 o'clock.
Well, I got it recording now, so but I can edit it
right now.
Yeah, I don't have it upstreaming right now, but I have it.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. I want to make sure we get a clean shot of everything in here. So, my name is James. I'm from Newark. I went to West Side High School. And I've been in recovery from heroin addiction a little over 10,000 days now. But my story is one day at a time. You know what I mean? And I guess that's everybody's story. And I say it like that more to encourage myself, not to get too lofty. Hey man, come over here so that people can see you, because John and I have been doing this. Come on, let me turn it on around where you are. Am I going the right way? There we go. John and I have been doing recovery radio for what now, John? Probably 5 years, almost.
And probably longer than that since we first started.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get some more volume here, man. And so we just started doing it, volunteering together. We would, he allowed me to come and to his place, and he has a really cool setup down in West Virginia. That's where he is right now. He's in West Virginia. How do I turn my audio settings up? Let me see. I got it. And so this recording, even though it's live, it's a developmental stage of something that I want to share tonight as part of my restoration process and as part of the.
Looks nice. Looks like a nice place.
I don't think this thing is going up, man. Hold up.
It looks
if
very
you
nice.
can get Zoom on your, can you get it on your phone? You doing it with us now?
Yeah.
I don't know if this thing is going. Oh, wait. Will it not turn up, John? How's the volume?
I hear you. I hear you fine.
Okay. Well, that's right. Me and the brothers.
I hear both of you fine. I mean, I hear everybody that's talking fine.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and do my little introduction, which I worked on for all of 20 minutes, and I hope it suffices.
20 New Jersey minutes, right?
New Jersey minutes, yeah. So welcome. You're listening to Recovery Radio. My name is James Boyd, and I am your host for tonight's podcast, coming to you live from the lounge located inside Humanity Baptist Church, 235 Bergen Street, Newark, New Jersey, where Pastor Dr. R.L. DeVoe is the presiding pastor here. Beautiful, wonderful place, a place where recovery and restoration is celebrated. I'm going to get everybody to kind of pay attention to the banners that were made to offer up this sacrifice to this community. And at the lounge where recovery and restoration is celebrated, we use the model of Celebrate Recovery. That is the ministry that was birthed here at Humanity Baptist Church, and the pastor really liked that model. He has reached out to some of the higher echelon officials that Celebrate Recovery, and they want to link up. Because of COVID, everybody has to shift in different directions to even be able to develop something. And so, I realized that in recovery, where we tell people to isolate, people who are in recovery or looking to get in recovery had to do something really amazing. I find amazing, because we're on the other side of COVID, and people are in recovery, are still in recovery. They're still thriving. They're still hungry for recovery and restoration, and they need a place to come and just lounge around and not be judged, and a place where you can get resources and transformational information that you can use in real time. So Pastor came to me a few months back and talked about this idea of creating a space here at Humanity so that we might, cultivate an attitude of tolerance in the community. And so, that's just kind of the motivation for why we're here tonight. And as you can see, it's a prototype. You know, and I really love Pastor DeVoe's passion and his audacity to be able to do what thus saith the Lord. I'm just gonna put it out there like that, the way he said it to me. And he said it doesn't matter, you know, how big and awesome the event is. The thing that really matters is that you do the event, that you have the event. Right. If the book that I adhere to says that where two or three are gathered in my name, there I'll be in the midst of it. So, you know, he gave me, you know, he kind of excited my enthusiasm about this particular space and the model of recovery, which is the Recovery Cafe. But we use that model and we kind of put our own name on it to kind of highlight where we are. Right. We're at Humanity and Celebrate Recovery, a place where recovery and restoration is celebrated. And so Humanity Baptist Church has a rich history of reaching out into the community. Unfortunately, the way it is, I don't know, across the world, people have a tendency not to reach back with so much enthusiasm. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You can slide up here. Let's get you on tape, man. But,
yeah, my name is Dadisi Sanika. I'm a deacon in training here at Humanity. And Pastor's always been, he wanted me to help him with the community, getting the community to come in, finding resources, you know, that kind of thing. And and because of my experience with some of the local groups here in Newark, I've been, you know, had some success, you know, not much because of the COVID situation. But I do think that people are going to be more and more enthusiastic about meeting in person, you know, as the time goes on. You know, if no serious variant arises, maybe in-person meetings will be the norm rather than, you know, the exception. So I'm keep my nose to the grindstone, trying to be a good Christian and support my pastor.
You're in recovery yourself?
No.
Okay. You grew up, you're from Newark?
I'm just interested in whatever
the
church is doing.
Yeah. So it's such a wonderful thing that the country is looking at addiction in another way.
Right.
And how we're approaching addiction and how we're using the people who have these lived experience to come alongside the professionals and the people who have not ever been interested in using drugs of any kind, you know. You know, the old adage about it takes a village certainly surfaces true in this day and time. You know, wouldn't you say?
Oh yes.
Yeah. So how have you managed, you know, in the eyes of all of the things, all that have been going on in this country? How do you manage to stay grounded, stable, and safe?
Well, well, again, my faith. I mean, for so many years I have been separated from the church. You know, even though I was doing stuff in the community, I was, you know, bouncing from church to church, listening to all the pastors. You know, I stuck with Reverend DeVoe because, you know, he has a real sincerity for the community. And I, you know, I shared with him that many of the people who are in recovery should take some of the blame, you know, because there's so much blame, you know, it's my fault. No, part of it is it was a war on drugs. And a lot of people got caught up in that. Not just the addicted part, but, you know, the government itself put pressure on the people.
What do you mean when you say it's a war on drugs?
Well, that's the terminology they use. So I'm saying, well, why did it just affect my community? You know, if you had a war on drugs and drugs is all over, why was it, focused on my community?
So how do you, so it's obvious you know something about drug treatment.
Yeah.
What's your, what's your history? Tell me about as a community or as a father or uncle or somebody that attends a church. What's your knowledge base and how do you feel about whether addiction is a disease or whether it's a character defect?
Well, I think it's a disease. At least to the people I've talked to in recovery. That's what, they convinced me that it is a disease. And, but it's not without a cure.
Amen. That's right.
So you encourage people to continue their recovery, but just like, some Christians, they backslide. So, even those people don't deserve another chance. Because as a human being, you get enough chances, you'll get straight, you'll do all right.
Yeah, there's enough blame to go around in every area. And there's a lot of information, good information going around about addiction and the psychological ramifications of addiction, how to have another perspective.
Right.
So science is proving a lot of things
Oh, yeah.
as to why people's life in addiction gets turned upside down, and usually it stays that way.
Right.
But we're having a turnabout in medicine and how they're approaching treatment.
Right.
In a holistic way. And so I think that every little bit helps.
Yeah.
We're so at war with war itself. We're letting peace pass us by. Right. And I, for one, will not settle for that in my life no longer. And like I was sharing with you before, I started using heroin at the age of 14. South 10th Street and Springfield Avenue, right here in Newark, New Jersey. I'm 71 years old right now, and heroin hijacked my life at age 14. I didn't know it then. Right. I didn't even refer to it as being hijacked. Right. I referred to it as being a terrible human being. You know what I mean? Yeah. I took it and embraced it and ran with it from age 14 until I was 45 years old. And in between those years of starting and stopping, Vietnam happened, prison happened, plenty of friends and gone by the wayside. Poverty happened at first, I believe. Poverty happened when I first was hijacked, because I realize now, using hindsight and looking back over my life, that I was running from something even then. Right. And now I know through the beauty of science and living and through God's grace, I'm learning that, there was other things that facilitated my schooling. Because I was taken to school. I was taken to school at age 14, I would say, and I didn't get out of there until I was 45 years old. And using that as a metaphor, metaphorically speaking. But here I am today, celebrating recovery, one day at a time. And so the story goes on because this recovery lounge has been part of my wish and aspirations for a number of years, even since I met John case in West Virginia. And
Right.
that's another part of the recovery. So that's why the recovery lounge is so important for all of us. It's so important for this community because the opposite of addiction is not abstinence, total abstinence.
Right.
The opposite of addiction, I believe, is connection to you and I.
Right.
You know, connection to the community, connection. I'm trying to shake your hand.
Okay.
Yeah, we can get that on camera, man. There you go. Because we come to celebrate, you know, not to mourn, not to whine, but to observe and try and come alongside of, like you said, is there a cure? And you believe there is, I believe there is.
Right.
But I've heard some people say, once an addict, always an addict. How do you feel about that?
Well, I always, it's too.
That's a strong word. Ain't it?
Yeah, that's too definite. You know what I'm saying? Because we're dealing with human beings. And a human being is able to change. I've seen it. So I think that human beings are able to change.
And God changes things, right?
Yes.
Prayer changes things.
Yes.
God will fix it.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard all of that. Right. And then yet we still see so much, you know, just so much poverty and chaos still in the world.
And even the I've been around people addicted who, even when they see death, when they see overdose,
they run to it.
They still don't think it affects them, and they keep on.
Well, you know, and I love when all the information is not out there because it makes for good radio. It makes for good podcasting because then we can collaborate. We can get together and research the phrases or the ideology that people come away with when they live a history that is surrounded by chaos and drugs and poverty. You know, we come up with our own analogies or prognosis, if you will, about what is driving a person. So something that I found in recovery that's so fascinating to me that makes us all alike, and that's our central nervous system. We all have one. Right. We all have one, a central nervous system, and it's basically the same in everybody, black, white, Latino, whatever. There's a central nervous system. And once we acknowledge that and get some information about what that is, we can come to the lounge and unwrap that, man. Because your statement about why a person would run to the substance that he realizes and sees that the same thing just killed his friend, why would they do it? Why would
well, fentanyl is a new thing.
Yeah.
So why would you, and they say how deadly it is, why would you run to that?
Oh man, that's a beautiful question, man. You know
why would you run to that?
Listen to me, brother. I'm telling you, I'm not gonna spill the beans tonight on this one right here, but we can open up all the conversations. I said before, this is a prototype for Recovery Lounge, where a place where recovery and restoration celebrate. One of the restoration pieces is restore our people from misinformation. Right. Restore our people from eating just half the loaf. Right. You know what I said about your central nervous system? When a person gets hijacked and something gets in their brain and drives their system towards that which they know is deadly. Right. Why? What does that? There is an answer. See, that's the beauty of recovery. There is an answer. Things can be restored. When your mind gets involved with truth and restoration, your personality, your persona, everything starts to change. And for me, I found out that, metaphorically speaking, me, myself, and I, that holds a lot of truth because there's three agencies, if you will, operating inside your body. It's called your central nervous system. There's fight, flight, or freeze. Now, if my body detects a threat, either I'm coming at you, fight, or I'm going away from you, flight. Or I'm gonna let the whole thing depress me. Depression anxiety. All these things are necessitated by trauma,
Right.
and they're embraced by your body because the external things are sending signals to you that you need to do one of three things. You need to fight,
Right.
flight, or freeze. So the lounge, the cafe lounge, under the banner of a place where recovery and restoration is celebrated here at Humanity Baptist Church, 235 Bergen Street. All of those who are listening, we can come and have those conversations around recovery. And then people will not be really so hard on themselves. And they'll look to recovery as something that works. It's an inside job. It's not an external. However, there's something that I adhere to, and I call it the healing forest, right? If you take a sick and dying tree, no, you go into the woods and you see a tree, right? That's been there. Now the tree didn't get there by itself. Somebody planted it.
Right.
Same thing as you. You were birthed.
Right.
And you begin to get hardwired in the womb. Now let's get back to the tree. You got a sick and dying tree. You're in the forest. You're a nice man. You got a nice house. You got a place for recovery to take somebody. So you take that sick and dying tree and you bring it to your nice place. And you nurse it back to health.
Right.
It gets strong. You with me here? The leaves and everything get green. It's been down a while in recovery in rehab. Okay? In rehab. Then he get out the rehab. And he goes back into that same tainted soil. What's going to happen?
It's just like person who commits a crime. They go back to the neighborhood after we leave. And that neighborhood festers that kind of, well, it's somewhere in my mind, I think that crime is an occupation.
Yeah, it can become.
And then, so they seem like they crave to go back. So, you know, it's.
So in this world today, you look around, for me anyway, substance use disorder has manifested. It's been around for just about forever.
Right.
You know, grandma was taking her, you know, to take care of her rheumatiz. But, you know, it has been perverted so deeply, and it has been weaponized by pharmaceutical companies, by people who are profiteering off of the misery of others. Those things have been weaponized. I mean, things that we don't even imagine because we're so caught up in the cares of the world, like collective ignorance.
And are we supposed to think that only experts can explain this to us? Or can dialogue between addicted people educate you
and kids too?
And sustain?
That's right. That's right. Because it's those experiences that the community experiences. See, most people I find that I know, if they have never had a relationship with drug abuse, they feel like that it's not of their concern. That's the state of affairs right now. But we don't here celebrate recovery as humanity. We ain't got time to pay attention to that. You know, we just have to we read the book, know the author, and do what the book says. And then what I'm talking about is the Bible, of course, because that's the book that I adhere to. And I love the Celebrate Recovery Bible. Have you ever looked at that?
No, I haven't.
Take a look one time. We're going to get more of these Bibles, these materials here at the lounge, because there's so many conversations that we can have, like you said, and we're not experts at this.
Right.
You know, we're just people in a community that needs us, and they need us often, and they need us in an aggressive kind of way to be able to come together and say, listen, we see we got a problem here. but I know where there might be a solution. Let's take a look at it. You
Right.
know, where can I come to have a look at this, the solution that you got? Then come down here to the lounge. We'll do what we can to facilitate.
Which may or may not include an extra.
That's right, which may or may not include, but it will include a person.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so I am grateful. Pastor, how you doing over there? We're recording live here at the lounge, and brother, I'm bad with names.
Dadisi.
Daditi.
Yeah.
How you spell that to our listener?
D-A-D-I-S-I.
D-A-D-I-S-I. Dadisi. Praise God, I love that. You want to share a little bit with us? Uh-oh. Am I getting in and out? So when we first logged in, it was saying that are we still with you, John? Hello, Miss Boyd.
Hi,
Yeah.
James.
You guys are doing fine.
You're doing fine, John? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, praise the Lord. No, we good. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
So L is connecting to audio.
You know, next time we might get an extra microphone, excuse me, a camera, and plug it into the. I think the computer could take as many cameras as you got USB.
Round the breakfast. This is round the table.
And then we could have you know, the camera on each person's face, so they rather, you know, separately a little bit more.
Enjoy yourself so far, man.
Anyway, I'll look into that. Just a
What's the
thought.
potential you see
Oh,
for the lounge?
I'm talking restoration. I'm following your lead.
All right. They say a man without any followers is just a man. Yeah, a leader without any followers is just a man out taking a walk. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy. You know, and I really am inspired, you know, by the audacity of you. I mean, by your commitment to something. You know, people won't pick up a penny because it ain't all shiny and stuff. And they forget that, you know, you pick up 100 of them things, you got $1 sooner or later, and you know, just keep on living.
Right.
And so, you know, it's the dusty, old, green, worn out pennies, man, that people pick up and shine them up. And so, and when collaboration happens, and when you start to celebrate the very small things, then big things start to happen. You know, in my experience. So, what do you think?
I think you're right on it. Again, I'm Pastor Robert DeVoe here at the lounge at Humanity Baptist Church. Here with two great brothers. One is that DC, the other is Brother Boyd, and I'm excited about the future, really the present, as well as the future. Here at the lounge, we're going to celebrate, you know, both recovery as well as restoration. It is the brother or sister time of our Celebrate Recovery and Restoration group that meets on Wednesday, that really does the principles and gets into the Word of God. But I like the setting that James has really shared with me with passion about just people being able to come and to really celebrate what the Lord is doing in their lives. And we hope to impact the community. The goal is to impact the community. You don't have to be a member of Humanity. All you have to do is want to improve, want to be better. And let me say this. People think of recovery, they always think of substance. We're all in recovery, all right? Whether we're recovering just from sin, all right? And so in our Wednesday group, we deal with people who have overeating challenges, people who are have a little anxiety, people who have really having a hard time managing a breakup of a relationship, along with those who are celebrating and working on their recovery process from some substance abuse. So I'm excited what's going to happen here in this lounge. And so I told James, listen, you don't have to be perfect, but we got to get going. It ain't about perfection. It's about getting going. And so that's where we are now. I'm gonna put a plug in for James that we'll be here in 2 weeks. We'll be again in 2 weeks, and then again 2 weeks after that. So we'll build some momentum. We'll have our technology together, and most importantly, we'll be here to help one another. Now, my brother to my right, that DC, I can't say enough about this gentleman, this fine gentleman. If I had to define him in 2 words, it would just be community activist. When I met him, he was on, he had boots on the ground in Newark, trying to make others' lives more livable. Right? And so he keeps his finger on the pulse. He makes sure I'm accountable, and he's a great representation, not only of the Lord, but of humanity himself and his pastor. So he keeps us out there. So stay tuned. He will be bringing more to you over time, just to get the word out about what's happening in our city here. I'm gonna turn things back over to my beloved brother James, who is just really excited. You guys,
I am. I'm very excited. I want to take a minute to acknowledge my wife. She looks like she's smiling. Burdell, would you like to come on? John, you let her in? Yeah. You got your audio up and going? Yeah. In 2 weeks, my wife, you got to be here, sitting in one of these chairs. You and your whole crew. I know you got a crew, and I don't know where they are, but that's one of the things that I often talk about. I mean, I when people have events, people expect other people to show up, but everybody can't do it all the time. So that's why you keep doing it. And that's one of the things in substance use disorder, those repeated experiences that's when you become addicted. Now, you back that out. Repeated positive experiences. That's where sustainable recovery is developed. I could always stop using. I couldn't stay stopped. You see, let me. I could stop using because I would use that ability to stop as a place to run and hide. I would go into a rehab. By me being a veteran, I'd go to the VA. It was like, a safety net for me. I'd go in the winter, get me an oil change, and when the weather come out, I'd come out and be homeless again, right back into that tainted. And I did that 7 times. So I started at 14 years old. I stopped when I was 45. I don't want your children to go through the same thing. What do you say, ma'am?
Then there's 3 other calls there. Might be investigated, I don't know.
Our apologies. Our technology and everything is in a developmental stage. So, but we really appreciate you taking your time out of your evening to come on with us. I couldn't hear you clearly. John, you there? I think my
Yeah, I hear. I had muted myself. Okay, sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
And my phone rang. Did something happen? Did I miss something?
This community where we are right now, my wife.
There's Verdell. I see her now. Okay.
So, and there's dozens of other people who are going to circle the wagons around this idea of the lounge right here on Bergen Street, and make it pop, make it grow, make it sustainable, so we can have a place to keep the lights on for the kids, so to speak. Winter is coming, and we have to develop. We have to develop, cultivate, and develop.
So James.
Yes, sir, John.
So both of you guys have about half your head on the video right now.
Yeah, about half.
The video is right in between.
It's my full head.
Sort of, yeah. So that's why I was thinking maybe
there we go.
That's much better. There you go. You're both, James. You're.
I know we're making your job very hard, John. That's why.
Well, I mean, this is kind of a developer thing, right? We're trying to get this to work. So I figured we need to maybe next time.
You in there?
Yeah. Come on in.
Yeah, we need to.
We got look.
Yeah,
we're developing, and when y'all come back to see us one of these times,
yeah.
we
Okay.
had a camera in the whole place.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to the left, we have the most beautiful, beautiful baptismal pool. As
Really.
you can see, I mean,
Right.
ain't nobody gonna be skinny dipping in there, but we can talk about some baptismal stuff. Hey, brother, I'm trying to see you. So we're using what we got.
All right.
That's what
That's
the
great.
say.
Looks like a good place.
Got to use what you got. And
I'm
we
just
make-
looking to get we might get you can for $30 you can get a second camera.
Mhm.
And then you would catch as long as it's plugged in, I think I'll test this out. You could get a wider angle camera, right? Okay, that you just plug in and it wouldn't matter. You know, you could get everybody. It's got like a 180, what do they call it? A 180 degree radius kind of thing when it does. So, all right. Yeah.
So John, how about you take a minute, man, and mess up my appetite with the economics report.
Yeah. There's a
Did
recession
you have
coming.
more for our listening audience?
Yes, there's a
Tell
recession
us the
coming.
good stuff first.
The good stuff is that Europe's going to get it worse than us. That's the only good part.
That's the only good part. That's not much.
No, we're going to get it bad. They're going to get it worse. And it's all going to keep going until at least until the war is over.
Yes, John is my economics expert. So.
That's my prediction.
What is he referring to?
Anyway, so you might as well get ready for the recession.
What's going to get bad? What are you talking about specifically is going to get bad?
Well, I mean, the first thing that's happening is that construction is going to go down because interest rates are going up. And so, you know, if you were going to get a mortgage for $120,000 condo yesterday, your monthly payment was going to be, you know, what, $1,000 a month or something. If you're going to get it today, it's going to be $1,200 because of just the raise in the interest rate, you know. And so that's going to hold back, you know, every little bit they notch it up, right? I mean, you're going to eliminate a whole class of buyers or potential buyers or borrowers, whatever, right? You know, and so the market will collapse in housing, most likely. And they're doing that on purpose because they can't think of any other way to get the inflation down besides forcing people to not buy stuff. And the only way you force people to not buy stuff and force prices to come down is to lay them off and have them starve. I mean, that's actually the, you know, I mean, that's actually the way it works. And then
So
you
just barely averted a rail strike, huh?
Well, hey, now there, in my view, is a great example of the power of solidarity, especially if you pick a time when the labor market is tight and the president of the United States he has to live up to his promises to the labor movement to do something about the raises that nobody's been getting raises for years. Okay. And if you look at the working conditions going on these railroads, I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like the Amazon workforce. I mean, it's you know, people are dying. I mean, people are, you know, you're working 24-hour shifts. It's not safe. I mean, there's and it's built up, right? And all during the pandemic, everybody's yelling at the truckers and the trains and the whatever and the ports, you know, because the supply chain is backed up and you don't have enough people to, you know, transport the stuff or unload it or move it across. And they're all working these unbelievable shifts. And so they finally picked a time to say, hey, guys, pay up or 50,000 people are going to go out on strike. And, you know, they had you know, it's like that old, but people always used to use this saying as an example of how corrupt the Nixon administration was, you know, because they had a aide, right? I think his name was Chuck Colson, an ex-Marine colonel. thought of himself as a very hard man, you know. And he had a big poster on his wall right next to the Nixon's in the White House office. And
Yeah.
it said, when you have
Yeah.
them by the balls, their hearts and minds will follow. Right. And well, that's about the way that they
Thank you for that economics report.
that's about where it's at.
Yeah. So here at the lounge, we aspire to talk about a number of topics each time we broadcast over the air. And if you have questions, comments, submit them to us, and you can send them to my email or go on my social media page so that we can know what it is that we can do to make your life better. We will engage your concerns as often as we can, or as often as you will allow us to. And when you come to the lounge and speak with us here, or just fellowship with us here, you know, the conversations are, you know, whatever we make them. You know, this is a place where you can open up. You know, I would really have people kind of know what you're going to talk about, because you don't want to open yourself up to any ridicule or any harm. Or when you come here to the lounge, you know, we don't want to bring a lot of bad information here that depress people, and we don't want to ruin your appetite. But we need to know, what is your appetite? We need to know, you know, how do you feel about cultivating this particular community? What do you have to add? What do you like to see gotten rid of? If you had your way to run things, what would you do, and what would you call it? You know, there's just so many topics that have gone untouched, and because people are basically running scared and fighting for their lives, you know, they don't have time, you know, to really focus on self-care. You know, we just go along, go with the program, we go to work, we come home, we clean up, we do a lot of mediocre things. And, you know, one of the main characters of addiction is boredom. People get bored with life, bored with themselves. They have so many fears. And here at the lounge, we want to cultivate behavior that helps people to shine, to be able to bring a bright light to a dark situation all the time. And for me, in addiction, in recovery, I had to get to know who I was, because when I was hijacked, my body, my brain was hijacked by injecting heroin into my arm in 1964. I had no idea that recovery was possible. I had resigned myself to the outcome that I saw all around me, which was jails, death, chaos, everything that comes with, you know, drug abuse. And I did it for a lot of years. And so you know, somewhere in there, I was longing for it to come to an end. But I kept finding these ways out of trouble. It didn't last very long, but I kept finding ways out of trouble. And I didn't realize that it was systemic to keep me in that cycle, recidivism. And I was in that loop for many, many years. But recovery is possible. You know, God was right there. I went my 7th rehab. I walked out of rehab and walked right into the arms of Jesus. And he hadn't let me go yet. You know, I've tried on many occasions to let him go. And, you know, and thankfully it didn't work. But I certainly tried. And so, Pastor, you want to add anything to that? that testimony because
It's hard for me to add to a personal testimony.
yeah. How do you, well, this is what I would add on behalf of my pastor is that, you know, we basically just met. You know, that we spiritual brothers, and I think spirit recognizes spirit, and iron sharpens iron. And you know, I come to him as dull as can be, but I had a lot of life's experiences, and sometimes you can't see your own shining. Someone will come to you, and so that it shows me that when the scripture talks to me about God having knows the outcome he has for me. I mean, he knows what he has for me. I'm paraphrasing that scripture, but with an expected outcome is what the scripture talks about. And I looked at that, and you know, I find comfort in seeing the scripture unfold before my eyes, because I talked about 4 or 5 years ago about trying to open Recovery Cafe in West Virginia, but I was looking in the wrong places for support, and I never got it because it wasn't time. And so my wife and I stayed in West Virginia 17 years, living and trying to cultivate the space that we occupied as a good space. And then we sold our home and moved back to Newark about 2 years ago. And like I said, when I walked out of rehab, I walked right into the arms of Jesus, or a reasonable facsimile. God sent me, you know, my wife and I searched around for about a year, going to different congregations, you know. And we landed here. My wife said, I'm ready to join. And the rest is history. So I had no idea, but when I first came to this church, there was all this enthusiasm, especially in the music ministry. and then I got a hold to the teaching, right? And it was like this is just was for my spirit, because I love to hear a person preach that walks you through the scripture. You know, I like to go on a journey. I learn through pictures. And then he talks in pictures. Yeah. So, and I love that about this community. And so here I am, and the thing that I talked about in recovery for over 5 years is you know, coming to light. He brought me down and showed me this space. He said, because I figured it should be full down here all the time. And so he talks like it's already full, because that's scripture. He said, think of those things that are not as though they were.
And let me interject, and both with James and DC, I'm usually drawn in because both fine men are not usually, when they come to me, they believe in what they're saying, doing, and what God has given them. And so it's hard to deflect that type of energy, enthusiasm, and really belief in what they're doing, or what God has given them, or what, you know, they feel we should be involved, that's right. And so it's nothing like having strong men who say, listen, I wanna move in this direction to help someone, to help a community, to enrich another person. Just what God has given me, I want to pour that in. And so that's affectionate. And I'm, for one, can't help to be drawn into a person like that. And as I told James, I said, listen, give me some constructive ideas, because I got a space that I believe needs to be open every day. We're blessed right here, but we're on the community corner that's needy, you know. And really, the citizens have been at times taken advantage of, even if it's just not them being exposed to the resources that they deserve. So I'm so excited with these two gentlemen. I'll remember this day as, listen, when I look back, it was three of us in front of a laptop, and now look, so
That's right.
all is well. I'm gonna tell James that DC, keep the faith, baby. As the brother,
That's right.
the late Adam Clayton Powell would say, Junior, keep the faith, baby. And I think if we keep the faith in this community, in our God, and in one another, great things can happen, and lives can be changed, even if it's one life at a time. So I'm here. He has my back, James has my back. That I got James back. I got that DC back, because they are men of purpose, which is very, very rare and hard to find. So
yeah. So we're gonna stop right there and kind of, John, I really appreciate you coming on, man, and doing this for us and being involved, man.
Out of it, and I'm going to post it on my YouTube channel, and I'll send you a link. Okay, but it takes me a little while to upload it, so but
Yeah, we're gonna finally get some of the help we need with that editing and everything, right?
well, no, it's not so bad. I mean, I'll do it for this show. I mean, I'd like to find a way to get it to be reproducible faster, but we'll see how see if we can do it. I don't know.
What about Jeb Moe, man? Can you throw him up there so we can close out with that?
I can right.
See if we can find him.
Kev
Jeb Moe. He's just gotta find some really good. He likes old music. His station.
Tajmo. Tajmo. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see if I can dig that one
Hey,
up here.
you got a picture of the caboose?
Well, that's not easy. But, hold on, let me work on Tajmo here for a minute.
Wow.
You gotta,
Yeah, here we go. We got.
when he bought the house, somebody dragged a train back there, and he put it on some railroad ties. You got the wheels, got the bathroom, microwave in there, big red caboose.
Yeah, we got a. Let's see.
And he,
That's somebody.
labor.
Yeah, get rid of that one.
John Case.
Get the next
Yeah, I
one.
think he did.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have special guests joining the band tonight. Blues legends Caboose and Taj Mahal. Put your hand together. Come on. Here we go.
It's all the fuss about, but can't people just get along? When we all talk about all the good we got going on. Everybody knows that there's a better way. And we're all hoping and praying that one day there'll be love all around the world. There'll be peace and understanding all around the world. There'll be joy all around the world. All around the world. There'll be men having children singing all around the world.
Can't you just feel it? It's everywhere. It's a powerful spirit. It's in the air. Won't be no reason to sing the blues. 'Cause nothing on the radio but some good news.
All around the world. positive change.
I just can't help about it. Nothing got so strange.
How do we get away from the misery and pain?
And still in the valley, in the pouring rain.
Love all around the world.
All around the world,
Peace and understanding.
all around the world,
There's a joy all around the world.
all around the world,
Let the ship sing.
all around the world.
Yeah. I think that's from the Tonight Show, actually, you know,
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna call it, we're gonna wrap it up. Everybody tuning in, we hope you join us again. We're gonna put that information out there so you won't miss a beat. I thank everybody for tuning, everybody that stopped by to say hello. Sister
Right.
Boyd, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys.
In 2 weeks, I'm gonna put the information out there and
Okay. All right.
yeah.
I'll try to get to you with a camera idea.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. All right, man.
all right, thanks.
Bye-bye.